Hey X, I want to tell you a story about the time my Chicago apartment was either haunted by a demon or a very annoying and hideous job ghost, and how I finally got it to f off. Be me, 15 or 16 at this point. Still in high school, still a virgin. When I masturbate, it's like the first time every time. The sticky goo makes a mess and leaves its mark. This is important to the story, so please bear with me. Neighborhood I live in is considered one of the worst. Rum runners like the Capone in the 30s and shit. Drug dealers and street gangs now. Have a reputation for living in one of the most haunted neighborhoods. Don't believe that my house could be haunted, though secretly hoping I was, since I was a huge fan of the paranormal. One day, I start randomly asking my mom what I might have missed since being gone living with my dad. Yeah, so the first ghosty thing happened when I wasn't there, but stick with me, it comes back. She says, well, Anon, that family friend of ours, I'll call her S, stayed over and the door to your room kept opening and closing on its own violently. No way, Jose.png. Apparently, S was having renovations done to her house and needed a place to crash. Mom offered my old room at the time. They apparently stayed up most of the night, watching, ironically, ghost movies. When it was late enough, S tucked her in and was drifting to sleep. Suddenly, the door would swing widely open and close like a bored toddler throwing a fit. My mom got up due to S screaming. She witnessed the door moving. In a fit of anger, my mom went, "Graham, cut it out!" The door stops. They go to sleep. I'd like to say that my great-granny died in that house. I'm not sure if this was the catalyst for what was to happen next, but if it was, then I'm happy that my grandma decided to be playful and not a dick, and presumably move on. I say that because, you see, the next few months after my mother told me this story, I then experienced the hauntings that were violent and not playful in any sense. Cut to a week later, close to the end of high school. Everyone sets out to do something fun and exciting, while me and the lads play video games all summer. My young, retarded high school self has started to play the new releases. During school that day, I have a study hall. Finish my homework so I can just fuck about. Request to get my laptop from computer room. Across the hall to finish a paper. Acquire laptop. Start googling haunted houses, old houses, etc. Find a link to one of those harmless gimmick websites. The gimmick on this one is finding out how haunted a house is. Click on the site, it asks for an address. Type in the school for shits and giggles. Pulls up the building history. Mentions the fire in the building that it had in the 50s and the kids that died in it. Chances of hauntings, 78%. I was impressed to say the least that the site was so thorough. Decide to YOLO and type in my address. The results come up saying that the house was over 130 years old. No murders or any violent shit, just really old. 68% chance haunted. Go home that night and tell my mum about findings. Now, I don't know if ghosts are easy to drop, but after I dropped that bombshell of how old your house was and the likeliness of it being haunted, the next week shit started happening. First week goes by no issues. However, the sub-day of that week begins in the wall problem. Our old apartment was shit and old, so when scratching in the walls was heard, we called the exterminator ASAP. He analyzes the situation. Well miss, there doesn't seem to be any vermin in the wall. I do hear that though. Maybe call the plumber? We called the plumber. Same results to an MOV. Week 2 now begins the sinister shit. Put heavy book on shelf. Book flies past me as if thrown. Place knife on counter. It falls blade first. Getting a little freaked out at this point. Week 3, annoying as fuck week, more like it. Ghost or whatever misplaces my things. Keys clearly left on the table are missing. Even my mum's shit has gone missing and turning up in odd spots. Week 6, nothing of note happened, just some basic shit from other weeks. Now shit is showing up in my dreams. Can't tell if it is a person, animal, or something else. It torments me and scares me, laughing at me at the end of the bed. Nightmare persists still. Week 12. Full body apparitions. Some of the kids, some of the old people, but mostly of the dream guy. Noping out of it right now, Ra. Contact paranormal investigators. They do a fast sweep and charge me $200 for an overnight investigation. Decline and take things in my own hands. By 2 months in, I was getting tired of this shit. There was something scratching in the walls. Someone would haunt my dreams only there to be when I awake. Whispers were being heard, shit went missing. It was like a real-life horror movie that went on too long to the point I was being annoyed. June 2017 rolls around. Shit's still going on almost regularly. My annoyed levels are skyrocketing. Had a dream about a creepy figure in the dark. Wake up per usual after the nightmare. Not feeling scared this time though. I scan the room with my eyes and spot the silhouette. No fear, only red. The next part is explicit. Bear with me, but I yelled something like, "Listen, you cockless fuck! I have the goddamn job interview at fucking 8 AM sharp! Do you pay the bills, cunt? Do you? No. Now fuck off and let me sleep or start helping around here, you useless fuck! Also, the dream is getting fucking stupid. Either get new material or get the fuck out. God, you're the most shit ghost I've ever met!" 2 weeks pass and all seems calm. Mum begins to complain about seeing shit now. I was really hoping the ghost would fuck off. It didn't bother me, but it was still in the house. 4 weeks pass and it finally affects me again. Place extra work I had to take home on the counter while home alone. Go to McTendy's liquor tard. Come back and the most important invoice is gone forever. This means war to TXT. Get fired from the job because of this. Come home that day with holy water and a decently heavy silver cross. Place it in my room and pour salt in the doorway. Step out of a room with holy water and cross. Flash it in the air. Okay, fuckboy, you got me fired. Time to move out. This is war. Splash holy water on the wall scratches are coming from. I shit you not, the house rumbled, but there was a roar. Didn't notice at the time, but it was a crack that had formed that day. Didn't know at the time, but that crack would bring me one step closer to fucking this ghost or demon. No clue which Desu. Threats and swinging it in the air with the cross worked for a bit, but I swear I would make contact with what felt like an adult trying to dodge my swings at some nights. I read somewhere online that holy water basically lets you grab ghost. I wasn't strong at the time, but I knew someone who was. Enter Swellbro, my half-native Irish friend from grade school. Over summer and all through high school, he was getting very spiritually, believing in God and the sacred natural rituals. Explained to him the situation. He is obviously frightened at first. "Listen, Anon, I can't tell if you're serious or not, but fucking with a spirit like that can bring some bad shit on you." Look at him point blank and say, "What if I told you there was a way you could hold it down and force bless it back to hell?" His eyes light up and, "Go on," expression on his lips. That night the plan is set. Spolbro gets a bucket of holy water. We're promptly banned from the church if we borrowed from it, and holy sages to burn it down. Have him dip his arms to the elbow in water and then splash it on him. I go to sleep. The same dream. Wake up Spolbro and ask him if he had the same dream. "No, wine man." Tell him the general idea is that I see the thing, Spolbro looks, and fuck me eyes escape his mouth. Next thing I know, I'm trying to light the sage, and the figure gets closer. Spolbro jumps at it and a chanting mix of native prayer and holy gospel. See him swing in the air and reach for the thing. Guess my theory was wrong, though he claims he felt punching back, but mostly nothing. "Anon, it left the room. It's headed back to the front room." My face and I saw the big fucking crack. My face and I put 2 and 2 together. My face when Swellbro spent the next few hours breaking the rest of the wall. My face in this old depression era box that's locked and covered up in dry dead palm leaves, with a clearly charred straw cross on top of it. The next day, Swellbro goes home and leaves with his Native American necklace. "This'll protect you. I know what you plan to do." He walks off as his mom gets up. She sees the hole and almost flips. Scary Buck's overused computer program meme. Mom, now visibly shaken, asks if that was in the wall. I say yes, and she goes on a shade of white I've never seen. She goes to her room, gets dressed, and sits with me for a bit. She explains to me that during World War II, my grandfather was a pilot. During some air raid on Japan, his plane was destroyed and only he survived. He was taken prisoner and managed to escape, not before he killed a general that happened to be at the POW camp that day. Thinking nothing of this absolute unit until that he made a break for it and stole a plane and hightailed it out of there. A few months after he came back to the stateside, my grandfather complained about his dreams. They were similar to mine with the old man and the blobs in the room. Turns out the old man was the Jap general he killed. My mom said much later on when the hauntings died down, my grandpa and grandma left and went out to dinner at a Cajun place. Across the street, there was a voodoo palm reader, etc. So, them being a young couple in their 40s and drunk were like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Apparently, the voodoo lady sensed a dark entity surrounding my grandpa. She says she knows what it's doing and is wanting to strike you down. It apparently took Gramps a minute to get it, but my grandma was freaking the fuck out. The voodoo lady said she could help them, but in their dying breath and their past, they must swear to protect their loved ones, etc. Obviously they did, and she made an effigy in the image of the general. She then placed blessed pens or whatever onto what it was supposed to bind to it. Before leaving, the voodoo lady warned them. This is only temporary, remember, to have the effigy destroyed or disgraced to destroy the spirit. Then again, being drunk and young, agreed, but they forgot and the spooks picked up when my mom was a girl. Grandpa had enough of it and was taunting it much like I was doing and being a ballsy prick. This kept it at bay, but it didn't stop. One day he had enough and went to a local bishop who resigned to help his family more. The guy was also an expert in demons and possession. Being that he was still practicing God, the bishop was considered a bishop had he ever desired to return. He knew what was following my family, an onro, a Japanese vengeful spirit. He gave us this antique pure oak box, blessed it and put the effigy inside it, locking it with a silver lock and blessing it. He told my grandpa to hide it where no one would find it, and to adorn it with holy items. He did just that. That takes us back to present day. I know what I must do. At this point, it was beef between me and the ghost. For a few weeks the hauntings were bad, but I was trying my hardest to find someone to break the lock on the box so I could shove a firecracker in the effigy's ass. One night put me over the edge. This time the dream was realistic. I got bruised and beaten. I then picked up a cat, my cat. I loved that cat. I was choking it. I woke up to find the cat struggling to breathe. Without a second thought, I whipped out my cock and started choking off. The cat, no longer struggling to run, ran after what I assumed was the ghost. Following the cat, my cock still in hand, jacking it, finally stopped, then hissed at the corner. That film when you literally jerked off so much that a Japanese vengeful spirit gets scared into a corner by you. I finally found my aim. I came in the corner. I smugly stood where I assumed the ghost face was. You crossed the line. Every night from this point on, if you attempt anything, I'll come on you. School starts up again. Not much change except for a new line of defense. First day back to school, first day back to sleeping schedule. This is something I don't like when it is tampered with. I'm a grumpy boy when I'm sleeping. The ghost decided to test me, even though I nutted on him the night prior. Get on the dream this time, and wake up to see a blob only starting to form. Oh, now you fucked up my sleeping pattern! Grab my lube, and play porn loud as fuck, jacking my wiener to completion. That feel when the black blob reversed formed itself. Therefore when Mom slept through the whole thing. Thank God there was no rapist in the house. Get to the school the next day. Meet up with Swellborough and tell him what's been going on. Lord, you can't break a blessed lock using a locksmith. Bring it to school Friday, when I plan to visit my grandpa at the reservation. I do just that. For the next 2 glorious days, I get an attempt at a haunting. That haunting was stopped by my sticky white land of the living justice. Suck it, Constantine. Friday rolls around and I bring the box. We visit his gramps. I'm not warmly welcomed, being that I'm white. We meet his grandfather, and admitting the fact that I nutted on the ghost, I tell him everything. Well, I could cleanse you if it was the native spirit, but this is foreign. I can break the lock though. He says a prayer in native, and then the motherfucker just picks it with the bobby pin. Literally standing there dumbfounded about how an old man did this in one shot, but a locksmith took 4 hours and failed. I remove the effigy. A cold breeze floods the reservation, and his grandpa shudders. Swellbro, Anon, take these and they'll protect you from any form of entities. This should see you two home safe. We go back, and I'm clutching this effigy tight, hoping that it feels me crushing it. When we go home, we look up what to do on Google. Anon, we need to remove the pins to make any assault or damning action valid. Fuck me. Swellborough lights some sage and chants. I prayed that my ancestors would watch over you. Also, I told them if it kicks your ass, to kick its ass. That somehow made me feel safer, and almost made me tear up a bit. I say, thanks, Senpai, and pat him on the head and send him on his way. Just me and you now, Tojo! I really need to piss this thing the fuck off, so pardon me with my assholishness and mild racisms. I remove the final pin after getting naked in a salt circle. The house rumbles and shakes. I can see the blob, but it's no longer a man. It forms what looks like a samurai wearing a demon mask, but the mask is the face. And the mask eyes moved in its mouth too. I'd be lying if I didn't think it was kinda cool. It charged at me, maybe hoping I'd forget the circle and step out of it. Nope, that HTML. One last chance, rice stick. My Gramps is dead and I never met him. You no longer have a purpose. You're just a useless dead fuck who got the drop put on himself, and you got pissy because your ancestors basically cucked you out of a paradise after that. The eyes, that was only semi-scary at that point, when I said that, got glowing red. That's when it happened. The PC booted up, and the light hit the demon, and it disappeared. Just as planned. Windows 10 had an update. My monitor had a really bright, and counts as a great light source. Now's my chance. Whip out my iPhone. Interracial Asian girl fucks big white American dick. Asian moans from my iPhone. Effigy right at point blank range. The monitor goes back to sleep mode at some perfect time. The blob reforms just in time to watch me nut the biggest nut of all time onto this effigy. The demon stares for a minute, as if just in comedy movies. It reforms fast in reverse, and the house rumbles, and then it went quiet. Still being wary, I chugged a Gatorade I brought with me, and made myself erect while wearing a native necklace. I walked around jerking it, insulting the Japanese by playing an anti-Japanese World War II propaganda, and trying to bait it out. Nothing for 2 hours. Go to sleep. Dream about banging a three-way, with an Asian girl, and for some reason a Native American one too. Go to Swellbro the next day. Ask him to take me to his Gramps. Tell him what happened, omitting the nut. I see. Swellbro said he prayed for you before leaving as well. Yeah. And you stayed the gym with a beautiful native woman. Yes. You're either one ballsy son of a bitch, or one of our ancestors took a liking to you and protected you. Gramps tried to take an effigy back, but for obvious reasons I say I want to be the one to burn it. The rest starts up a huge fire and ceremony. They chant and throw salt to protect, I assume. They bless the effigy that whatever punishment it gets, the long, painful one. I throw it in the fire. I shit you not, the fire turned green for a split second, and I heard what I think might have been laughter, and one voice sobbing coming from the fire. My face only fucked with the wrong guy. My face when not only I bullied a beta demon, but the other ghosts and demons were also bullying the beta ghost. I desperately hope my grandpa was the one in those laughing spirits. I spend the night at the rest one, to make sure that I'm safe and spirit free. 2, because I had a killer after party, and 3, because I met my then GF, who is now my ex. And that's the story how I literally beat a ghost by beating off on it. If I could only get a TV show, now like the Ghost Hunters to travel the world, just coming on ghosts till they fuck off. Anyway, leave the story if you want. Either way, hope you all enjoyed.
Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to Mr. Green and check out all of his social medias down below. My name Goda.